Greetings gamers, Sir George is here. The 501st clones just got reworked, so today we're going to go over some mod guides for them. So first off, let's go with Fives. I think he's the most exciting new rework. Although Rex gives him a good run for his money with his super 1 million damage move. So for Fives, because of his ginormous defense, you want to mod him with 3 sets of defense. It's going to go a long way towards making him hard to kill, because now his new unique gives him, when he's taunting, plus 100% defense. So you can get it to where he's negating 70-75% damage, making the best of your enemies into wet noodles. Alternatively, if you don't have all good defensive sets, or you need to put a protection on him but don't have a good protection defense, other ones you can put are some potency and some crit chance. His crit chance isn't as good as his other brothers in arms, so you can help make up for it with a crit chance set. Maybe throw some potency, because if he can get speed down on the enemy, then he'll be able to attack twice, which will help him heal twice under Shaak Ti or Cody leads. It really helps him out. For the mod primaries, you're going to want to put protection with speed secondaries for the arrow. If you don't have that, it's okay to put a speed, but protection will help him more, especially once he dies, and then can give that protection to Echo and Rex. For your triangle, it's going to be a toss-up between whether you want to put a crit chance or protection. Most of the time, go with protection, but you do want crit chance to be high, because if he critical hits, then that means Echo following after him will also critical hit. And if you're running Cody as your 5th, then it helps Cody keep his cooldowns from being too high on his mass assist 212th attack move. And then for both of these, go with protection. The secondaries on the character you want to shoot for, because he has such a high 700 or 800 flat defense base, you want to go for defense percentage from the secondaries, health percentage, because you've already got protection covered with the mod primaries, and some flat offense, because he can do some really good damage when he's not taunting whenever he counters. Next, let's take a look at Echo. Echo's gotten a really fun rework. They nerfed it before they ever released it, but he's still going to be really good, because now he doesn't have any damage penalties, and he assists every time a clone ally does a basic. So the mod sets you're going to want on Echo, for sure you want crit damage, because he will crit most of the time, because his copy that unique helps him anytime an ally clone critical hits, he will for sure crit his next time attacking. So if a clone does their basic with a crit, Echo follows right up and he'll do a crit for sure. He's going to deal most of the damage on the team, so you want to up his numbers, his damage output, as much as you can. Now the interesting thing with him in Fives is that when Fives is taunting, Echo does 100% more offense. When Fives is not taunting, Echo gets plus 100% defense. So before, where you might have put crit chance or health as your next set, go with defense so that he can stay alive longer and not die so soon, which would call Fives, once you have his Zeta, to sacrifice himself for the team. Crit chance could be a good option though, because he, even with his plus 20% from his unique, doesn't max out very easily with crit chance. Now because his speed doesn't matter, since he'll just assist his clone allies, go with an offense arrow, crit damage triangle, because we already talked about how he'll be critting all the time, an offense cross, and then a protection circle. You might want to throw a protection cross on there in case your offense is high enough and he's just dying too quickly, because you do want him to stay alive long enough so that fives can actually do some taunting and soak up a lot of the damage. In the mod secondaries, you're going to want to add flat defense, because the flat defense will essentially be doubled when fives isn't taunting. Defense percent is good, and then flat offense, because just to up his damage output. Rex, who just got reworked, your plan for modding him isn't going to be much different than it was before. You're going to want him fast, so put some really good speed sets on him and put a health set. You're not looking at him doing a lot of damage. You're not really caring about him getting critical hits because he's got a really high base crit chance. Really, since the rework, all you want to do is get his tenacity up, cooldown, and using it as often as you can, and his reworked special that does 25% damage for every turn a clone's taken. That's going to be a kill shot every time you get to use it. So the quicker we can get it off cooldown, the better. He has a high health pool, so health is a good second set. You could go with potency, with all the assists that clones do thanks to Shaak Ti and Cody, and Five's special now calling a target ally. Rex's basic reducing turn meter really helps and can actually help you manage all the enemies, keeping them from taking turns. When it comes to primaries, throw a speed arrow, because that's our goal, is to keep Rex fast, and then just go protection, protection, protection to keep him alive as long as you can. For the secondaries, get his speed high so that Rex can be the first tune to go, because once he goes first, now that his second special is on cooldown, he's always going to do his tenacity up, which will give all his clone allies turn meter, so that your whole squad gets to take a turn before the enemy ever does. Now, if you have Rex as the lead character, there's going to be some alterations to your modding for him and for the team. Because Rex doesn't have any kind of protection regen built into his leadership, most of these where you have protection, switch it with a high health, like a 6-dot health mod. But be careful. If it doesn't look like it's going to improve it much, like let's say you swap this protection for a health that's 5-dot and it only boosts you maybe 1,000 health, but you get 8,000 protection, still go with protection. The boost from his leadership's not going to change things that much. Now, your supporting allies on the team. Shaak Ti has a great lead, so we're probably going to be running her. And even if you're not using her leadership, you want her on the team. She pairs great with the clones, especially with her retribution. Now, there's two good options for modding Shaak Ti. One that I'm leaning towards most is just putting all health on her, trying to bulk her up as much as you can, because she's going to naturally get a lot of turn meter from when her allies get hit, from when anytime the enemy does an AoE. That should be a guaranteed 100% turn meter on her. What we really want is for Shaak Ti to stay alive, because once she dies, you lose the retribution from her unique. Other options, because she's got a really high base speed, you could throw a speed set on her, and if you've got Cody calling a mass assist, or you're needing just more crits on your team, you can do a crit chance as another set. For the primaries, you can do a speed arrow, but protection's a close second, because what we're going to do is put lots of protection, because thanks to her being a newer tune, they give them all really high base stats and base protection. Throw tons of protection on her. She doesn't gain the healing that her clone allies do from her leadership. So you're really going to rely on her surviving and from her special giving herself 35% protection to keep her alive. With secondaries, throw some protection percentage, health percentage, crit chance. Keep her alive, and crit chance to help keep Cody's cooldown low. Now your fifth on your clone team, your good options are going to be either Cody or Clone Sergeant. I'm leaning more towards having Cody as the fifth, but Clone Sergeant is almost just as good. When modding Cody, I'd recommend all 3 crit chance because his base stats aren't very special in the health and protection, so you're just going to rely on mods, primaries, and stuff for those. 3 crit chance help his mass assist, helps himself to actually be doing some critical hits. Alternatively, and this is especially for if you're doing a Cody lead, do 3 defense sets. Because Cody's lead, he gets 60% defense bonus for each clone on the team. For the mod primaries, put some speed on Cody so that he can do his mass assist turn after turn after turn without much break in between. Crit chance on the triangle because you need at least 5 critical hits to come from his mass assist for it to stay off cooldown by the next time he does it. And then protection because his health pool's really weak and you really need to bulk him up in the primaries and secondaries to keep him from dying too soon. Because his stats are so low, flat protection is really going to help him. Throw some speed so that the break in between him getting a bunch of turn meter from his basic and from echo assisting doesn't take too long for him to throw another mass assist attack out there. Crit chance and flat defense, especially if you're doing a Cody lead. If you do decide to run Cody lead, which is still a good leadership, even with the reworks and Shaak Ti coming into the game, for sure choose the defensive mod set. The crit chance for the whole team won't need to be as high, so just try to get them to where they're at maybe at 90% total, and 30% of that's going to come from Cody's lead, 20% from Echo's unique. So some of your tunes, you're not even going to have to mess with crit chance at all, then you can just focus on the other stats they're working towards. For example, when modding Cody using his leadership, you won't need a crit chance triangle here, so definitely put a protection. When given the option between protection and health, for Cody's lead, always go with protection since his leadership only provides protection regeneration, not healing. Clone Sergeant Phase 1, it'll be great once we finally get a rework for him, but he does some great damage, but his usefulness has lessened since Echo now is taking the role of the main damage dealer. If you run Clone Sergeant, put a crit damage set on him for sure, and you can either go with a potency second set or crit chance. Your crit chance will naturally be really high, plus you've got Echo, plus you've got his unique that gives you 22% if you're running with 4 clones. So it'll very easily be up to 100% without too much extra work being needed to be done. That's why I'll recommend a potency second set instead of crit chance, so that his special that reduces turn meter will actually reduce enemy turn meter, keeping your clones ahead of the game. But if you aren't able to get his crit chance too high from secondaries or from gearing him up, then you will want to go with a crit chance. For primaries, he gets a huge turn meter gain on his basic when he does a critical hit, so just throw an offense up on his arrow, crit damage triangle, offense cross, protection circle. This is a similar situation to Echo, where if they seem to be dying too soon and you need to bulk them up some more, throw protection on there instead of the offense cross. When it comes to secondaries, any offense you can stick on him is good, so go with both percentage and flat offense. Crit chance, this is where I like to get him up to that 100% crit chance level rather than having to put a crit chance set up here. So throw crit chance on him and potency to make the turn meter reduction on his AoE work. If you want a more in-depth look at the mod guides for these characters, go to surgygames.com. It's my new website that I am putting up more text-based guides and articles on. And I'll be using it a lot as the background for when I discuss the game on YouTube. Let me know in the comments how these modding recommendations help you, or let me know if you have any other ideas or anything I overlooked. Stay tuned for a video where I go over the Zeta order and Gear 13 priorities for these characters. God bless, and may the Force be with you.